Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A Hobart woman has pleaded guilty to manslaughter over her part in the 2016 death of Kingston woman Michelle Meads. Kylie Jane Hack told a judge she is sorry and ashamed of her actions, reading a tearful statement of remorse to the court.
3 years after a deadly incident at Clarendon Vale, an accused has come clean about her involvement in the crime. 36-year-old Kylie Jane Hack today pleading guilty to manslaughter, perverting justice and stealing for her part in the 2016 death of Michelle Meads. Her body was found in this burnt house, hidden inside a wardrobe. The Hobart Supreme Court today heard the victim went there to buy ice, but the Crown arguing an altercation took place between Hack and 2 others and Miss Meads, leading to her death. The home was then set on fire. Prosecution saying it was a very serious example of the offence and sustained violence was afflicted. In court, Hack's defence said she'd had a long history of drug and alcohol abuse, but since being remanded in the Risdon prison since 2016, she'd become a model prisoner. In an emotional statement read in court by Hack herself, she tearfully expressed her sincerest apologies, saying, "I'm deeply sorry and ashamed, and I take full responsibility for my actions, and I am determined to never walk the same path." The case in front of Justice Helen Wood was adjourned until next month for sentencing submissions. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
The state budget is taking a hit from the property market slowdown. New Treasury figures have revealed an almost $50 million slide in stamp duty revenue. It puts it down to a reduction in the number of property sales. Tasmania has also taken a $42 million hit to GST revenue.
So we've had to deal with lower revenues, but importantly, we've been able to bring in a budget that has a solid bottom line.
The state is operating with a surplus of $100 million, $60 million less than predicted in the original budget. There's also bad news on jobs, with the latest ABS data showing our state still has the worst unemployment level in the country. Since April, our unemployment rate has been sitting at 6.7%, compared with the national average of 5.3%.
They need to look at where our skill shortages are. They need to look at where our training pathways are, and they need to ensure that those jobs that are unfilled or being filled by mainland contracts are actually taken up by Tasmanians who want to work.
New South Wales has the lowest unemployment at 4.5%. The sister of missing Launceston teenager Billy Ray Waters has made an emotional plea for the public's help. 16-year-old Lily Waters holds great fears for her brother, who was last seen a week ago.
16-year-old Lily Waters is going through unthinkable heartache. Her brother Billy left to go camping in the state's northeast at least a week ago and hasn't been seen since. Lily bravely spoke on camera today, expressing just how much she wants him home.
It would mean the world to me to have my brother back home. Waking up every day and knowing that he's not where he's supposed to be, it kills me inside, because he's not there.
Lily says she's had support from family, friends and school teachers as police try to work out where her 19-year-old brother is. The last confirmed sighting of Billy was on Invermays Holbrook Street on the 4th of August. Police haven't been able to confirm another reported sighting from last Thursday.
Even though he's caused us trouble and stuff, he's the most kind-hearted guy. He may be loud, but he comes from a good heart.
Billy is described as 175 centimetres tall, of slim build, with below shoulder length brown hair. He was last seen wearing tan skate pants, a tie-dye shirt, black puffer jacket and a Raiders cap.
It's normal for him to disappear for a bit, but not like this. This is just not him.
Concerned friends saw police on Sunday to report Mr Waters' disappearance. Some friends also turned to social media to spread the word. One Facebook post pleading for public help has been shared more than 1,000 times.
We've had a tough upbringing, and he was my best friend all through my life, and he's just always been there for me, no matter what. He's my big brother. He's always going to be my big brother. I just want him back.
Anyone with information can contact Crime Stoppers. Information can be provided anonymously. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government has hailed the halfway mark for the redevelopment of the Midland Highway. The $500 million project is ahead of schedule and on budget, but Labor hasn't let past promises fall by the roadside.
For many drivers, the Midland Highway feels like the never-ending journey. So the good news about roadworks...
At our 5-year halfway point, we're actually ahead of schedule and on budget.
And the bad news about roadworks.
It's another 5 years.
This stretch of road near Epping Forest is the latest section to be completed in the $500 million project, while the Perth Links Road development is on track to be finished next year. But motorists, be warned, this summer could test your patience.
The construction sector are gearing up for a busy road season as we look ahead, so that will include Melton, Mowbray, Spring Hill and St Peters Pass.
We need to make sure that the infrastructure that we're investing in Tasmania suits both our population and our industries into the future.
Transport groups say more work needs to be done to establish safe truck stops, and the state government has been accused of moving the goalposts.
This government came into government with the promise of a 4-lane Midland Highway. I don't know a single Tasmanian who thinks we are halfway towards a 4-lane Midland Highway.
The objective of having 4 lanes is remaining where it's required.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian foster care provider Kylie says it's committed to joining the National Redress Scheme for survivors of child sexual abuse. It had previously expressed concerns about the cost of opting in, but its CEO says the matter is progressing.
We've had expert legal advice. We've transferred the properties and assets that we have so that we're convinced that we actually will have the capacity to opt in full.
The organisation today launched a new book celebrating its 150-year history at the State Library. It also donated its first record book to the State Archives. The free ride could be over for Tasmanian motorists, with free 90-minute parking potentially on the chopping block for Hobart's CBD. The council looking at the options of scrapping the concessions and early bird parking in an effort to reduce congestion.
Tasmanian city councils have tried to make their CBDs the place to be by introducing free parking in multi-storey car parks for the first hour or so spent in town. But now, with the number of spaces drying up, Hobart is looking at cutting the measure.
We're at 80% capacity now, and in 3 years' time we could be even worse.
Scrapping the free and early bird parking are 2 ideas proposed in a report prepared for council. In return, park and ride facilities would be built on the edges of the city, with regular shuttle buses ferrying people in.
That would reduce a lot of traffic that was going through the city or within the city, and then reduce a number of short-term car parking in the city.
The Small Business Council has welcomed that idea, but remain concerned about the impact of axing discounted parking on traders.
Increasing charges, making it more difficult, is definitely not the sort of thing that the traders want to do. They want customers in their door.
CBD users are also wary of the plan.
It means you can just come in and get something quickly.
If there was no free parking, yeah, I would definitely come in less. I'm trying to avoid it.
Council says no final decision has been made.
We're not going to just go ahead and do it. Part of the report's also saying that we'll do this in consultation with the traders and the community.
It's a review, it's a consultation process. We're really keen to listen to what the community has to say.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Treasurer Peter Gutwein has had a bit of a slip-up, although thankfully not with the state's finances. The man behind the budget was today back on his feet after suffering a recent skateboarding mishap. He's promised he won't be changing careers anytime soon.
There is no chance that you'll ever catch me on camera on a skateboard.
Although he has confirmed the skateboard was his. To celebrate National Science Week, an immersive pop-up experience is taking over Hobart's T-Mag this weekend. Beaker Street offering something for every interest, with attractions including live music, interactive science experiments, a retro video game arcade and a bar. The event aims to bring together scientists and the public.
This one's really about sparking the imagination and seeing people really engage deeply with the critical cutting edge of science at the moment.
Even if you don't think you have a particular interest in science, there's so much happening at this event, and maybe you'll discover something really interesting. So yeah, it's just basically an opportunity for scientists and the public to get together. And
Baker Street runs from 6 p.m. to midnight this Friday and Saturday night.
The TSL and Lauderdale coach Darren Winter says his club resisted the urge to release vision, which could have had severe ramifications for North Launceston's premiership hopes. The fierce rivalry between the clubs has hit a fever pitch approaching finals. Lauderdale has its own camera set up at Skybus Oval for the sake of the club's Monday night game review. But according to Winter, it captured several off-the-ball hits from North Launceston players last Saturday.
We've got footage at our club that we could have put 5 or 6 blokes in and they wouldn't be playing finals now. But that's not my job. A few of their players wouldn't be playing any more this year if we put it in.
The 45-point loss was the Southern Bombers' second on the trot, but Winter isn't reading too much into the side's recent form slump approaching September.
When we had 60 mils of rain and it was a mud bath and had no skill, not much I wouldn't think. We didn't even review the game. That's how much that meant to us.
He's expecting a far more competitive showing against the Pies at their KG5 Fortress this Saturday, and so is the Glenorchy coach.
You know, and just because they've had a little bit of a down patch, it doesn't make them any less dangerous. You know, it's their last game before finals, so their dress rehearsal.
Flying high off the back of a come-from-behind win over the Tigers and set to welcome back several of their best from injury in time for finals, another victory will see Glenorchy cement their claim as a serious flag contender.
We'll have times this week where we'll be challenged, and you know, if we can keep showing that mental toughness we have for the last 3 weeks, we'll give ourselves a really good shot.
Meanwhile, finals are starting to kick off in local footy leagues around the state. One club is preparing for a fairy tale finals appearance after coming back from the brink of collapse.
It's been a long road back for the Old Launcestonians Football Club. After making finals in the Northern Tasmanian Football Association in 2014, a mass exodus of players left the club on life support.
I came and watched them in 2017 before I decided to coach again, and I think I watched them play East Coast and they were beaten by around 200 points. So I think we were left when I took it on in 2018 with 3 or 4 senior players, and we had to rebuild from there.
On Sunday, the club will finally have another taste of finals action against Evandale in the league's Division 1 elimination final.
We don't want to just make up the numbers, we want to push as deep as we can, so we're really looking forward to the challenge.
Evandale has its own point to prove after losing the grand final to the East Coast Swans last year.
We're sort of just going in with a fearless mindset that, you know, we've got nothing to lose, so we'll just throw everything we've got at it.
The side hasn't won a flag since 1993.
But I know there are a lot of guys that are true locals that are hunting for that.
Lilydale goes in as the clear flag favourite. The Demons haven't lost a game all season. St Patrick's will play the East Coast Swans in the qualifying final, while Bridport, Meander Valley, Perth and Old Scotch all missed out. Uni Mowbray was winless for the year. The Southern Football League has 1 round to play before its final series begins next week, while the North West Football League still has 2 rounds of the regular season to go. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
To netball, and Arrows will be desperate to redeem themselves in this weekend's do-or-die prelim final against Cavaliers after the side squandered a half-time lead against northern rivals the Hawks before going down by a single goal in last weekend's semi-final.
We didn't let them steamroll us as much as they had in previous games, but to only lose by 1, it was, really disappointing. So I think we've got to make sure we're over that and ready for this week.
The winner of Saturday's match will set up a grand final showdown against the Hawks, with the Cavaliers confident they can go on to provide the upset.
For us to win this weekend would be amazing because the Hawks are into the grand final. So realistically, North versus North grand final would be out of this world.
Saturday's final begins at 11:30 a.m. at the Launceston Silverdome.
Good evening. It was a cloudy day today with light rain falling at times across the west and north. 14 across Launceston and Devonport. Hobart was the state's warmest, reaching a high of 19 and burning 13. Other centres today, a high of 13 across Strawn, Lowhead and King Island, 17 at Grove, and both Flinders Island and St Helens a top of 15. On the close-up shows clouds streaming from the northwest over the north and west, while thin high level cloud crossed the state. Further out, high level cloud is moving across central WA, while mid to low level cloud sits over southwestern WA. Mid to low level cloud also runs along parts of the top end and eastern Queensland. Tomorrow, a cold front is crossing Tasmania in the morning and is followed by a ridge of high pressure. West to northwesterly winds tomorrow 15 to 25 knots about the north, swells up to 3.5 metres in the west and south and close to 1 metre in the north. On to the warnings, and a strong wind warning is current for northern coastal waters from Stanley to St Helens Point. Tomorrow's forecast now, high of 13 across Hobart and Campania, looking at partly cloudy at Huonville. In the north, Launceston rain clearing, a high of 14 with morning rain for Devonport and Georgetown. Burnie and Wynyard tomorrow, morning rain with a high of 14, rain easing at Strawn. St Helens and Swansea reaching a high of 13, a shower or two at Port Arthur. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now, Saturday fine apart from light rain developing in the northwest in the evening. Sunday rain in the north and west, increasing and extending statewide during the day. And Monday showers more frequent in the west and south. Capital cities, a shower or two in Adelaide tomorrow, Melbourne 14 and a sunny 25 in Sydney. And on to current temperatures, Hobart cloudy 14, Launceston 11 and Devonport cloudy and 11. And tonight's energy saving tip, if you have a wooden floor, laying down some nice rugs can help minimise heat loss. Sounds good to me, Jo.
It certainly does. Thank you very much for that, Jackie. Well, that's all from the news team for now. We'll see you a little later with updates. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.